Hello, I'm Liz and I like to knit, and you're watching episode 3 of my knitting podcast. I think that I may have jinxed myself because last time I posted a video, somebody had said, "Oh, do you live in Canada?" And I don't. And I said, "Unfortunately, no, I live in the United States where we get a little shorter of a winter." And I said that, and the next day, winter hit. So it is cold, and I think jinxed was the wrong word because I am freaking loving it. It is sweater season. My thermostat can't keep up with the outside temperatures, so I'm even wearing them indoors. It's amazing. So this is the first episode of winter is what I'm calling it. Let's get started with some actual knitting though. For starters, what I'm wearing. So I have a couple of accessories on because it's cold enough I can't just have one thing. I'm also using my coffee as hand warmers. Great excuse to just drink tea all day long. But I have 3 knit things that I am wearing. 2 now, but I wanted you to be able to see this one. This is the Sweatshirt sweater by Purl Soho. And this is kind of a special garment to me because this is the first sweater that I made that I still wear, if that makes sense. Like, I think I had a couple tester sweaters in there that I either made with a yarn that I didn't like because I didn't really think about fiber choices before I was knitting garments, or it didn't quite fit right, or I didn't like the way I did the mattress stitch. But in any case, this one didn't get given away or frogged. It's still going strong. I think I made it in, this was pre-Ravelry, so well, pre me actually putting things on Ravelry. I retrospectively put this project in, but it was a big, strong guess as to when it was finished. But I think it was probably in 2016. And it's still going strong. This is made in Cascade 220 Superwash worsted. And it definitely is pilling just a little. Like, you can see those little fuzzies. And I have a, fun over here, there's a big snag where one of my cats I picked up and their foot got caught in it. That's how life goes when you have cats and you like to knit. That's by default. Just learn how to fix them and then actually go in and do it, which is my problem. But this pattern is a free pattern, and I knit it pretty much exactly to pattern because, again, I was newer. I didn't really have preferences about how I like to knit sweaters at that point. This is knit bottom up. It's a raglan. The one modification that I did make is that it's called the Sweatshirt sweater. And so it's built with a sweatshirt pocket here. I'll put a picture over here so you can compare the two. But mine doesn't have that because I didn't really think I needed it. I just wanted a basic sweater. Get used to making sweaters, get used to construction styles. And like I said, this was really before Ravelry was a thing for me. It was really before, definitely before knitting podcasts were a thing. And I was fortunate or unfortunate, I guess, to have grown up without really any knitting influences. I learned to knit in 4th grade and then didn't have anybody to talk about knitting with. Still kind of don't. That's part of the reason for this podcast. I could go to my local yarn store now, and that's great, and I love it when I do that, but it's so hard to get out of my apartment that it's really nice to be able to talk to people online about it. So thank you for everyone who commented on previous videos, and I'd love to hear your opinions on stuff. But yeah, for better or for worse, I didn't have any knitting influences, and so I didn't really know what kind of constructions other people liked. I didn't really know what yarn preferences people have. There was nobody who was like, "Oh my god, don't knit a fingering weight sweater," or "Oh my god, don't use Superwash," or "Only do a top down raglan." And so I just kind of got to learn that for myself. This is very long-winded to say, if you're knitting your first sweater, or even if you're knitting your 40th sweater, don't let other people's preferences influence what you like. It's all knitting. As long as you like the finished outcome and you're not wanting to stab yourself in the eye with your needles while you're knitting it, good for you. This is my oldest sweater and it's very cozy. on a day that is like 6 degrees Fahrenheit outside and much colder with wind chill. Second finished object, very necessary, extra layers. This is my Sunday morning wrap by Espace Tricot. And this is also a free pattern. You'll begin to see a trend. This is knit in some yarn that I was gifted, and I think it's an Amazon only brand. I haven't bought more of it, even though I like it, just because Jeff Bezos doesn't need any more of my money than he already has. But if you are an Amazon person, if you live really far out in the country and you have to order all of your yarn anyway, etc., etc., been there, girl. And it's not bad yarn. It is CavaYoma, CavaYoma, and it's a DK 100% alpaca. And I honestly quite like it. I'm upset by how much I like it because I'm probably not going to buy more of it ever. But it was a gift in the first place. The pattern is a one-size shawl. I honestly use it more as a scarf because this is pretty thick and it's really good for just like getting snuggly. The only thing that I think I did differently is that this is a, oh, gotta find the end of this thing. It's like a long, what's the shape called? What's the shape called, Elizabeth? You graduated from public school. God, we're gonna have to look this up. Four-sided shape names. Well, it's a quadrilateral. Okay, it's an isosceles trapezium. I don't feel that dumb not remembering that one. Isosceles trapezoid. Okay, fine. This is a nice isosceles trapezoid shaped shawl. So, I'm honestly not, it's been a while. I think you cast in on this end and you're increasing. And then this ribbing is supposed to be longer on the other end. And I had just shy of the amount of yarn for the pattern. I wanted to use up every last bit of this yarn on something big and squishy. And I knew I wouldn't care if I ran out a little bit early. And I don't. It does tend to roll a little bit more up on the edge because it's a stockinette and reverse stockinette. So it's kind of there's a structural reason, I think, why this ribbing was supposed to be longer, but it's getting flipped around all the time anyway. I don't have that good of fashion in everyday life, so nobody's really expecting that much from me. So I can get away with having a little bit of a flippy shawl. So very practical, very soft. Loving it. The other knit thing that I have on today that I'm not going to go too in depth on because you guys don't need me to try to display these is socks. So this is a bad idea already. These are the Decathlon socks. And, ooh, okay. A lot of pilling on those. But I'm very aggressive with my socks, so that's just how it goes. Like I said, these are the Decathlon socks by Sue Grandfield, and they're a free pattern also. I'm cheap, sorry. You're welcome, actually, free patterns. But I knit the 64 stitch size. I always knit my socks on US 1.5s or 2.25 millimeters, and I like to knit mine in a magic loop method. I used to knit double pointed needles exclusively, and then I had a horrible accident, and by horrible I mean not that horrible for me, but I did manage to bend one of my needles irreparably using only the bones in my two knees. And you can tell that there's probably skin in the way. Anyway, bodily horror aside, I like magic loop, and this is knit in the Lion brand Sock Ease Mojito colorway, which I got on sale. They're felting quite a bit. I just knit these like this fall, like late fall, like November, and I've been wearing them with my like everyday boots, and they're my favorite socks right now, so I'm wearing them a couple times a week. Probably like wear twice, wash, wear twice, wash, on repeat since I made them. So yeah, they're felting, they're not wearing through, which is good. They do have some nylon content, so they're not being destroyed, but they're also not pretty. Or not as pretty as they were when I finished them. All right, let's move on to the new stuff that like you've seen me working on before and might be actually wanting to follow up on. All right, first finish object. And if you are one of the like very small group of people that watched my last actual podcast episode, you might see this coming. If not, why on earth would anybody be knitting a lace weight silk shawl in the middle of winter? That's what I'd like to know too. But this is my first finished object. This is the Alice by Mam'zelle Flo, and I'm very happy with it. I didn't block it well. I never really block things the way that some people think of them as blocking. I don't have like a blocking mat or pins because I don't knit a lot of shawls. Mostly it's just like you knit a sweater, you kind of pull it into shape so it matches the schematic that you want, and then you let it dry flat. So this is not blocked to do it any justice. And I also didn't weave in the couple of ends that I have because I tend to do that after blocking. But this is a beautiful shawl. I am absolutely loving it. It was fairly easy to knit. I explained in the last episode that this has been my travel knitting over the past year because it was knit on wooden needles. This was a single skein of yarn, and that just makes it really easy to bring it on a plane and not have to worry about TSA taking my needles away, and not having to worry about when you're already packing light, because I tend to just bring carry-ons when I travel, especially if I'm going somewhere warm, which I was this last week. I tend to just try to pack carry-ons if possible. And that is what I did, and this worked out great. So this is, like I said, a single strand of lace weight silk, and the actual silk for this is Revolution Fibers Mulberry silk in the undyed colorway, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. This was another gift. God bless my dad. Basically, I think it's hard for dads and daughters to shop for each other unless they like share a hobby. And my dad and I certainly don't. If I was more outdoorsy and like was into biking, we'd have so many gift ideas for each other. But fortunately, we still love each other. And last year he was like, okay, what can I get you for Christmas? And I said, I will love any yarn you buy if it is a natural fiber. So just anything that's not like plastic in some way or form. I'll explain this in a minute. I'm realizing that's very prominent. It is related to a vacation, so I'll cover that real quick. But I was thinking more like wool or alpaca, even cotton. And this man, God bless him, probably went onto Amazon and typed in natural fibers and got this beautiful like skein of lace weight silk. And I don't knit a lot with lace weight, contrary to my current knitting setup, and I don't ever really knit with plain silk. So I thought this would make a really pretty like white shawl. I'm in that phase of life where a lot of people are getting married that I love, and so I thought it'd be a good wedding gift. I don't think this is going to be a wedding gift. One thing that, let me see if I can find it. There's several spots in this yarn where it decides to have like a second strand of red or like coral. Let me see if that shows up. Wow, Elizabeth. Good podcasting. Okay. So I don't know if you can like see that in there. This one specifically. Okay, it's very subtle from a distance. You really can't see it, but I can, and I could tell when I was working with it. And if I gave it to somebody and they noticed it and were like, did she just like cut her thumb while she was working with this? I'd feel a little bit bad. So this isn't going to be like a wedding gift. I was working on it at a wedding, I was actually in India. One of my good friends was visiting her husband's hometown for the first time. They were going to do like traditional Indian wedding, which is like a multiple day, tons of ceremony situation. And she was going to be an Indian bride the first time she was in India. And so she asked some of her friends, she was like, I know it's expensive. I know it's a time commitment. Do you guys want to come? And we were like, absolutely. Of course we do. When else are we going to go to an Indian wedding? So we were in India for just about a week, and my hands are still a little bit stained. They do like henna drawings on the wedding guests. This used to cover the whole back of my palm. The bride gets them like all the way up her arms and her feet, and so does the mother of the bride and the mother of the groom. And then all of the female guests are welcome to get palms and back of hands. And my husband got like just a little, guys can get a little something in the middle of their palm, which I feel is a little bit sexist. I think that if guys want to have fully decorated hands, they should be able to, but who am I to tell another like whole culture that definitely outnumbers me, what they should be allowing their gentlemen to do in life. Anyway, this lasted me all of the plain knitting, which was a lot, and I even had to finish the edging of it when I was home. So, very beautiful. I love it. At some point, I will probably dye this, because I shouldn't have anything that's white, because I'm a huge messy muffin and I like to eat things that are red colored. So this isn't going to last very long if it's mine. Even if I just wear it for special occasions, I will manage to just ruin it somehow. So if you have any ideas as to what color I should dye this, let me know. I think it'd be pretty in just about anything. And I also think I will knit this pattern again in like the original pattern calls for a 60% wool, 20% yak, 20% silk blend, and it looks beautiful. It's all in French. I don't think I can probably get it here, and I'd probably be too cheap to anyway. It looks gorgeous and luxurious, and as previously said, I'm cheap, but I don't know, I could probably find a nice like wool yarn or something that would stretch and block a little bit better to make this in here. So that's that. Moving on. Gotta drink coffee before it gets too cold. My husband drinks like room temperature coffee. Back to the like whole Delicate Prince thing. But I can't do it. I will just re-microwave my coffee like 4 times if I keep forgetting about it. It's almost noon now though, so I should finish this or else I'm not going to sleep well tonight. God, I'm so old. Okay, second finished object, and if you watched which anyone watching this probably did, because I think that's where most people found my channel. Thanks for being here. This is my Nordic vest, my second most recent finished object at this point. And it has gotten a lot of wear already, and I'm so happy about it. Like, I need more pullovers already. I know this. It's not on my immediate list of things to make, but this has convinced me that I need more pullovers in my life. This is, like I said, the Nordic vest by Natalja Ledvanova, and I love it. I'm not going to go too terribly in depth, because I kind of did in my last video, if you want to go watch like sweaters I finished in 2023. But it is made in Drops Lima sea green mix, and that's a wool alpaca blend, and I really like wool alpaca blends. Even against my neck, because this does have like a high collar, it's very soft, it's very comfortable. I think one thing that I didn't mention in my last video as far as differences from pattern, because I covered that I made it a little bit longer and I did pick a size with less positive ease than the pattern recommended, and I still love it. I also did the shoulder bind off a little bit differently. The pattern doesn't include written instructions for how to attach the shoulders, because this is a bottom up and then you, what she wants you to do is a graft from the live stitches of the front to the bind off at the back, and I didn't want to fuss with that, so I watched the video because it wasn't written down, and then I was like, okay, cool, I'm just going to do a perpendicular mattress stitch like I normally would in this case, and it worked out fine. The difference that I didn't talk about in my last video is that I picked up my neck stitches, and I had about, like, I'm not going to list, it's a paid pattern, so I'm not going to like say the actual stitch counts, but I had about, I think, 10% fewer stitches than I was supposed to based on the like pickup scheme that she recommends. And I figured it's a neckband. If I knit a couple inches and I try to get over my head and I can't, I'll just tear it back and knit a new one, pick up more stitches. And honestly, it's fine. I can't keep my glasses on when I'm trying it on, but otherwise, like, it feels fine. I thought, like, at some point maybe I would go back and fix that. I do that a lot with my sweaters. Like, if there's something that I'm not wearing the sweater for, I have no hesitancy to go back in, modify it. But I don't think I'll have to for this one. It's getting plenty of wear. It did come to India with me. I knew it would be good for the plane because, like, it is thick and gets a lot of warmth on your core, but it's also not going to take up a ton of space, like, in your luggage. Like, I had this in my, like, underseat carry-on, because it was, like, 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit there. I'll put Celsius on the screen. Sorry, that's not intuitive calculation in my brain. And then, like, okay, soapbox. I am not about measures, like imperial measurements. For the most part, terrible plan. Like, metric is so much more intuitive, and like base sets of 10, my science brain is just, that's what I want. But Fahrenheit is designed to be like a percentage of like how hot or cold it feels to a human body. So like 100 degrees Fahrenheit is like, it's 100% hot. This is as hot as it can get comfortably. And then 0 degrees Fahrenheit is like, it is 0% hot. And like 50 degrees, that's about where I'm comfortable. Like, that's perfect. So Fahrenheit makes more sense to me. But like a lot of the world uses Celsius, so it makes sense to at least have an intuitive sense for it. But yeah, India was like 60 to 80 Fahrenheit, and when I left and came back, my town was about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So I knew I was going to want something warmer, like when we got back to the States, for our layovers and for getting home. But I didn't want to pack my whole coat for like just that chunk of the trip. So I had this, and then I had like a thinner long sleeve jacket, and that was perfect. Like, slipovers are great for travel. Pack one of these puppies. It's a capsule wardrobe must-have. It's as if I have a capsule wardrobe. I'd like to, but I'm a hoarder, so how I can't get rid of any yarn scraps or any yarn ball bands. Like, why would I be able to get rid of any of my sweaters ever? I think that was all I wanted to say about this. Yeah. I knit it in a US 3 or 3.25 millimeter for the ribbing, and a US 7 or 4.5 millimeter for the body of the sweater. Moving on. Oh, it's starting to get cold. Okay, hold on. Okay. Crush it. I wanted to slam that down like in the Thor movie when he's like, another! But I think that indicates that I've had enough caffeine for today if I were to slam a mug on the ground in my guest bedroom. This next project, this next work in progress, is my current like main focus. This is my Birch pullover by Andrea Mowry, and on the trend of using far too thin of yarn for all of your projects, and in the wintertime, this is going pretty slowly, but I am obsessed. I'm loving it. I think that if I were a better podcaster, I would have put a progress marker because I have gotten a couple inches on the body, but not too terribly much since last time. But this is being knit in Holst Supersoft, which is a fingering weight yarn. This color doesn't have as much spinning oil as some of the other Holst Supersoft cones that I've gotten before, so I'm happy about that. But it still will fluff up. Like, my swatch still got significantly floofier and filled in. So I'm very excited to finish this. But this pullover is knit in half fisherman's rib, so it's already pretty squishy. This is a case where it's a fingering weight yarn, but it is still like appropriate for the temperature conditions outside. So I'm not like too mad at myself. But like I said, it's slow going. God, this color is so pretty. And it also, like, it has enough interest, but also when I eventually spill coffee on it, it's not going to show up that badly. I'm not going to have to like worry about stain control with this, which is an important consideration for me as a person. But yeah, I'm very excited to have it. What else? Yeah, it's very slow. I couldn't take it traveling, or else I would have. I suppose I could have like wound off a chunk of this and just carried a ball around. Like, I've knit double with Holst Supersoft before, and that's what I did. I just wound off part of it into a ball and knit from the cone and the ball at the same time. But this is also on metal needles, which is my preferred method. I've snapped wooden needles in the past multiple times. And so, especially with these, and ooh, hold on. I'm almost certain these are a US 3, but who knows? Bam, bam, bam. Looks like a US 3 to me. Yes, US 3, 3.25 millimeter needles. But yeah, definitely metal. And I'm not gonna say I haven't taken metal needles down a plane before, but especially out of the country and like going through foreign security, I didn't want to risk losing all this progress. Speaking of which, it's probably about time to put another lifeline in. You can tell before I split for sleeves, I put in this lifeline. Very faint. But now that I've split for sleeves, just in case I mess up, because I'm still not totally comfortable fixing brioche or half fisherman's rib or half brioche or whatever you want to call that kind of style where you're knitting essentially 2 rounds for 1 round of knitting. Doing a really good job of explaining this. But anyway, I'm not totally comfortable like going back and picking up stitches like I am with normal knitting. So it'd be probably prudent to put another lifeline in. Stay tuned to see if I do it and if it comes back to bite me. Yeah, this is usually the point in the sweater when I will finish the ball of yarn I'm on, and then for convenience sake, knit the sleeves before I finish the body. And I've seen other people do that too. I don't know why that is. I'm not sure if it's like it's easier to be turning your sleeves back and forth while the body's not as long, so you don't have all this fabric flopping around. I don't know if it's because a lot of us will play yarn chicken with the depth of our sweater and the sleeve length matters more than the body length, and so it's easier to just have a cropped sweater than it is to have cropped sleeves. I really don't know why that is. If you knit your sweaters that way, where like you'll get to here, you'll stop, knit the sleeves, and then come back to the body, and you know why you do it, let me know. Because it's just like, it's just how I've always done things. I don't know why I do it. It's compulsion at this point. But I'm not doing that with this sweater because it's on a cone and it's really easy to spit splice this. It's not like I'm worried about having ends to weave in. If I were to stop here and move to the sleeves and then come back, it'd be extremely easy to deal with. But I don't feel the need to. I'm definitely not playing yarn chicken with this. I will have leftovers, and I don't know, like, Holst is good for color work, and I feel like maybe some little color work mitts would be good. I have a couple of colors of leftover holst at this point that I think would be just kind of nice together. So stay tuned. We'll see. If you have a good like color work patterns that you like, feel free to drop that in the comments, because probably won't get to it this winter, but maybe before the end of 2024. We'll see. But yeah, that's coming along. I'm very excited by it. Can't wait to have the finished project. But again, it's very slow going, so you'll definitely see this again before it's finished. I just sneezed like 8 times. Because as one does when you've been in a big flying germ box for literally 16 hours for one of the flights. I got a little something. I wore a mask the whole time, but flu season. How do flight attendants do it? Like literally, I would be sick nonstop. Bless you, flight attendants. You are doing a massive service to the world, and I hope you get paid a lot. Anyway, the other project I'm working on, and this has seen no progress since the last time, but so few people have probably seen this anyway that I'm not worried about showing it again. But this is going to be the Eyelet Cowl by Purl Soho. And this is lace weight yarn. And this color is, it's a little more neon. It's blowing out just a smidgen here. I don't know. This colorway is called Hella. It's by Ledvanova. It is the Felix base. It is extremely soft, and it is lace weight. And this is, let me check my notes, 448 stitches. So it takes a little while. This is kind of, I like to have a couch project and a stays with my travel stuff, either my work backpack or my purse sort of project. So this is good, mindless, take with you knitting, because it's just one ball attached at a time. It is all stockinette in the round right now. I'm losing enthusiasm for it though. I haven't even worked on it in a couple weeks, and usually that's oh yeah, I want to get back to that. I don't feel that for this right now. And I think it's because I've had kind of a sordid history with this. What does sordid mean? Back to Google. Involving ignoble actions and motives, arousing moral distaste and contempt. Yeah, I'd say some, well, maybe not moral, but definitely some distaste and contempt building in there. Because this project is not the first time I've tried to cast it on. In fact, this was the 4th time I've cast it on, because I messed up 3 times. Last year, beginning of 2023, I tried to cast this on. That's when it came out, and I fell in love immediately. I still do want the finished project of this, but when you cast on 448 stitches, I cast it on in the correct color the first time, and then I read the pattern again and I went, oh heck, I was supposed to do it in the contrast color, or the other colorway, which is, I'm just gonna put it down below because I can't pronounce anything in French. But anyway, I thought I was supposed to cast on the other color, and so I took that off, I cast on in this color, and then I went, well heck no, I read it right the first time, and I cast on a 3rd time in this color, 448 stitches each time. And then, after about 16 rounds of the 3rd cast on, I realized I'd twisted my stitches, because it's such fine yarn, and it's kind of cramped on this needle, but I don't really have a bigger needle in 3s, and these aren't interchangeables. So, I just put it away. And then I cast on this here. And I have not twisted it, and I am further than I was last time, and it is lovely, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to shelf this and kind of work on maybe a sock or some mittens, because I do definitely need some mittens. I am using commercial gloves, tech fiber with metal tips, so I can still play Pokemon Go when I'm out and about. So we'll see. I may not see this for a little bit, and that's okay. Or I may have it finished next time. Who knows? Either way, I'm excited for the finished object, but I'm just not enamored with the knitting of it right now. So and those are all my real whips. I do have one other thing to show you. Bum 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 bum. Ooh, this looks better on camera than it does in person. I did swatch for the Canik Genzer, or Canik sweater. I'm even worse with this than French pronunciation. But it is a pattern by Pickles, Anna and Heidi Pickles. And I've knit a couple of their sweaters before, and I really like, they even say it in their like philosophy of they do their best to kind of knit sweaters where when the knitting is done, the sweater is ready, like easy, ready to go, not a lot of finishing, not a lot of futzing about. And I can support that. I don't mind finishing, but also it's exciting to just be like, let's go, let's wear this thing. Why would I bother washing it before I wear it? It's fine. But this is a swatch for that sweater. And as I am wont to do, this is not going to be on gauge, but I can use the pattern and just create my own numbers using algebra. This is a swatch with some yarns held double. It is the Blackberry Ridge Woolen Mill Sport Weight in dark bronze, and then the Drops Brushed Alpaca in the Curry colorway. And I kind of feel it really does look a little bit better on camera. In person, I was a little worried that like the colors look great separately, but they're a little bit mustardy together. So I was a little bit less enamored with the color, but this feels incredible. I definitely want this combination of things on my body immediately. And unlike everything else that I'm knitting right now, this is going to be knit on like US 7s. That's what I swatched in 6s and 7s, and I definitely like the 7s better. And like, it's not see-through. I can see light through it when I hold it up to like my window here, but it's certainly not going to be like airy. That's a lie, because the wool itself is airy. I talked about this in a previous episode, but this Blackberry Woolen Mill, it is woolen spun, and it does not look like, this does not look like a sport weight to me. That's like a DK or, yeah. But when you pull it, it kind of pulls all of the air out of the spin, and so it thins out a lot. And I'm excited. I do love this yarn, and it's kind of like, oh, it's so precious, I don't want to waste it on a project that I'm not going to be absolutely in love with, but I think I'm going to be absolutely in love with this. And I don't handle mohair super well, like it is itchy just right here on my neck. And the Canik Genzer has a high neckline, like just very cozy. And so I went with the brushed alpaca, and it's much softer. Wow, that is just, it's coming off, and my hands just look kind of, they look okay. I need to take like a kitchen sponge to them and just brush it. But I'm very excited. And yeah, the swatch is lovely. Very fuzzy, very enjoyable. This sweater has a split hem, which is, I think, the reason I picked the sweater pattern in the first place, because I have one sweater that's like a commercial made sweater with a split hem, and it's, honestly, it looks more like it's made with like a short row sort of situation at the bottom, just different short rows in the front and back. But it's very flattering. It's very comfortable. I really like the way that it fits, and I think that more split hem patterns sweaters in my wardrobe will not go amiss. I have written here for my notes, split hem wardrobe, comma, baby. Oh, because I want a split hem wardrobe, baby. Anyway. Really good at this. So that is going to go fast. It's probably going to scratch my itch of like actual thick winter sweater knitting. So I'm excited to probably crack into that. Hopefully I'll have some progress made on it. I plan to cast it on today or tomorrow, and then it'll be extra cozy for hopefully this nice wintry weather continues here. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for coming by. if you're new here, which you probably are, I'm really excited to meet you. Leave a comment. If you have a knitting podcast, let me know, because I'd like to see what you're knitting on too, or if you have an Instagram or something. If you knit any of the patterns that I'm working on, or again, have any suggestions for like what color I should dye that shawl, or any similar patterns that you think I'd enjoy, let me know. If you're also knitting absolutely inappropriate yarn weights in the middle of winter, holler at your girl. But in all cases, I hope you're knitting on something that makes you happy, and I'm glad you stopped by. So stay warm, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye!